Hi everyone, I'm Gabby.
And I'm Jay.
And this is our journey to retire all over. On this channel, we are sharing our experience as we get ready to retire in 6 years or so, and then spend the rest of our lives exploring the world. If you want to know more about us or want to hear an overview of our plan, you can check out our introduction video. Today, we are going to explain how we plan to juggle different investment accounts in order to work around restrictions and maximize our savings portfolio. But first, please hit the like button to help us with the YouTube algorithm and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified whenever we post new content.
A huge part of any retirement plan is where do you put your savings so they grow as much as you need and are ready to be used when you retire. As we mentioned in our What to Do with Your Savings video, the most commonly used tax-advantaged or retirement accounts are 401ks or 403bs, IRAs, and Roth IRAs. These are great to maximize the tax benefits, so you want to put as much money as you can in these accounts. However, they also have restrictions when it comes to withdrawing the money you've saved. The biggest concern is that you can't easily withdraw your money from any retirement accounts until you're 59 and a half years old.
Of all these accounts?
Well, Roth IRAs are not quite as rigid, but we're going to get to that later in this video. Anyway, since we plan to retire in just 6 years, more than 10 years before either of us turn 59 and a half, we had to get creative in order to make it work. That's usually where standard brokerage accounts come in. These don't have tax benefits, but they also don't have any withdrawal restrictions, so early retirees use them to ensure that they're covered during their earlier years of retirement.
Let's look at our timeline. Our retirement year is 2026. At that time, we will roll Jay's 401k and my 403b into IRAs. That's just in order to make things easier. About 10 years after that, Jay will turn 59 and a half and will be able to withdraw from his IRA. About 5 years later, I will turn 59 and a half and will be able to withdraw from my IRA. Finally, about 5 years later, both of us will hit the required age to get retirement benefits from the teacher retirement system for me and Jay with Social Security. So we'll start getting those benefits then. By the way, check out our video on Social Security if you think you cannot count on it for your plan. As you can see, for the first 10-ish years of our retirement, we will not be able to withdraw any money from our retirement accounts. Well, Roth IRAs do allow withdrawals before the retirement age, but just from the contributions. That's the actual money you invested without the gained interest. So, if we have 10 years worth of living expenses that we will need to cover before we can fully access our IRAs, we will need to have at least $300,000 in our standard brokerage accounts or in Roth IRA contributions. That is, if we're planning to live on $30,000 a year during retirement. How can someone live well with $30,000 a year? You can check out our video on geographic arbitrage.
Either way, that takes a lot of planning ahead, making sure we're putting the right amount of money in the right accounts while we're saving. What happens if we don't have $300,000 in our standard brokerage accounts or Roth IRA contributions? Since we're using our other retirement accounts fully, as we should, we'll probably end up in this situation. So what if we could use the money in our retirement accounts before we reach the required age? Well, it turns out we can. We even have options, and we're going to go through them each from the easiest to hardest here. Option 1, deal with the penalties. Option 2, substantially equivalent periodic payments. And Option 3, a Roth IRA conversion ladder.
The first option is just to take the money and deal with the penalties. You can take money out of retirement accounts, you just have to pay all the penalties and fees. The IRA charges 10% penalty for early withdrawal if you take out money before the retirement age of 59 and a half. Also, that money is taxed as regular income. This is by far the least complicated, but also the most expensive. If this is what you want to do, that's your choice, but you will need to account for this 10% penalty plus taxes in your planning.
Slightly more complicated is what is called substantially equivalent periodic payments, or SEP. It's also sometimes called a Rule 72T withdrawal. A SEP plan is where you agree to take a percentage of your IRA out each year for either 5 years or until you turn 59 and a half, whichever is later. It can't be just any percentage though. There are 3 methods the IRS will allow you to calculate what percentage you can take out. These 3 calculations are fairly complex. Thankfully, Bankrate and a few other sites have calculators to help with this, and Investopedia has a really good article on SEP plans. The links will be included in the description below. Each of the methods use government-created life expectancy tables and a given interest rate to determine what percentage can be withdrawn.
These SEP payments are taxed as regular income, so you would have to be prepared for any additional tax bills. Also, there is no way to stop a SEP. And if you need to make any changes to your SEP, let's say you want to adjust your living expenses, the IRS only allows one single change to a SEP once it has been established. A SEP is far less expensive than option 1, although it is very rigid in case your needs change or the percentage withdrawal the IRS allows does not match closely to what you are looking for.
The last option is the most flexible and the most interesting, and it is completely legal even though it sounds like it's not. That's the Roth conversion ladder method. Before we get into it, we have to talk about a very specific benefit of Roth IRAs. As we mentioned in our What to Do with Your Savings video, a Roth IRA is one of the 4 most commonly used retirement accounts. Roth IRAs are very unique in their tax advantage capabilities. In that video, we talked about how Roth IRAs don't offer immediate tax benefits, but all of your withdrawals are tax-free, including the interest earned. And one of the other ways Roth IRAs are different from other retirement accounts is that you can actually withdraw your contributions tax and penalty-free at any time as long as the account has been open for at least 5 years. You cannot, however, withdraw any of your interest earned before you turn 59 and a half or until your account's been open at least 5 years, whichever is later.
A Roth conversion ladder is a way of moving assets from a traditional IRA into a Roth IRA to then withdraw the contributions without incurring any tax penalties. This works because the IRS allows rollovers between retirement accounts once per year. A rollover is when you convert funds from one type of retirement account to another. Because moving money from an IRA to a Roth IRA is a taxable event, meaning that you will have to pay taxes on the conversion, you want to wait until you're retired and no longer making money, so you are at the lowest possible tax bracket. So the tax you pay is the minimum.
With a Roth ladder, you want to convert as much money as you'll need, and here's the kicker, in 5 years. The IRS rules say that rollovers must sit for at least 5 years in a Roth IRA before you can withdraw without penalty. That's the big concern with a Roth ladder. You need to plan for 5 years in the future. Each year, you'll want to convert the amount of money that you'll need in 5 years. Also, even though your conversions will be gaining interest each year, you can't withdraw that interest until you turn 59 and a half due to IRS regulations. You can only withdraw the conversion amount.
I know this sounds complex, so let's break it down. Let's use our example from the beginning of this video and say we want to live on $30,000 per year. To build a Roth conversion ladder, we start in year 1 after retiring. We will convert $30,000 from our IRA into a Roth IRA and let it sit there. Because we have $0 in income during retirement, because we're no longer working, we only owe income taxes on this conversion and will probably fall into the lowest tax bracket, 10%. So we would owe $520 in income tax. That's because we'll most likely have just the standard deduction of $24,800 and owe taxes on only $5,200. Not bad to convert $30,000 and never pay another penny in taxes for it.
If we simply withdrew this money and paid the penalty, we would owe that $520 in taxes plus an additional $3,000 in early withdrawal penalties. But remember, with the Roth ladder, these $30,000 have to sit in that Roth IRA for at least 5 years until we can withdraw them. So those funds will only be available in year 6. In year 2, we do the same thing. Convert $30,000 from our IRA to our Roth IRA, pay $520 in taxes. Again, this money has to sit for 5 years, so it will be available to withdraw in year 7. In year 2, however, our Roth IRA will have gained interest on the money we converted in year 1. But remember, withdrawing interest is restricted until we're 59 and a half.
Year 3, the same. We convert, pay taxes, and the money will be available in year 8. Until then, it will be gaining interest, but for that, we will have to wait until we're 59 and a half. Year 4, we repeat the process, and again in year 5. In year 6, we will do the same thing, but now we can withdraw our original $30,000 we converted in year 1. But remember, not the accrued interest. For that, we will still have to wait until we are 59 and a half. But we can spend our $30,000 without owing the IRS any additional money.
And like that, we keep converting every year until we deplete our IRAs. In fact, we're going to keep doing this even after we turn 59 and a half because it will allow us to pay less in taxes than if we're spending from our IRA. Plus, Roth IRAs aren't subject to required minimum distributions like standard IRAs, but that'll be for another video. Finally, once we reach 59 and a half, we'll be able to withdraw any accrued interest from the conversion with no penalties or taxes.
You may have noticed that the way we have it, the first years of our retirement are not covered. How will we pay for our living expenses while our money is sitting in a Roth IRA? Well, we ultimately do need to ensure we have at least 5 years of living expenses in a standard brokerage account. And that can be a bit of a headache, but not using a Roth conversion ladder would make that 10 years instead. So it definitely helps.
Bottom line, however you want to approach it, it really is up to you. Just make sure you're aware of all your options and how they work for your situation and what your retirement goals are. So what do you think? You've been trying to juggle how much you put in each of your accounts? Are you avoiding the benefit of retirement accounts in favor of brokerage accounts?
Is it just too complicated and you're just keeping one account? Or are you trying to be strategic on your planning? Let us know in the comments below.
Please follow us on social media or our blog at GabbyandJaysJourney.com. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell to be notified when we post new content.
Until then, please stay safe, do your part, take care of one another, and thank you for joining us.